everyone, it's Lisa. Welcome back to my channel. Today I want to make a card with this set from the Stamps of Life. It is called Hanging Out Dog to Stamp. And it includes this stamp set, which is this cute little dog. It has the front of him and then the back. So there's two separate stamps here. You can actually either use this one, or you can do both of them, put them together, and it will be a complete 3D type stamp. So the sentiments, hello friend, I just wanted to check in, let's hang out, how are you doing, I miss you, and then there's two little paw prints here. So that's the stamp set, and then you have the matching dies, and I've already done some die cutting. So you have the shadow layers. I went ahead and die cut 4 of the shadow layers out of the cloud cardstock. And then you have the front piece, the front of the dog. I die cut that out of the white and the black. The back of the dog, white and black. And then just the face out of the bubble gum because I want to capture that nose. I'm actually going to be making 2 dogs, but I'm only going to be using 1 on a card. The reason why I'm doing 2 is because I'm paper piecing and I'm going to have the extras from when I cut parts of it off. So I just figured I might as well just make 2 and then just keep 1 in my stash for when I need to use it later. And then you have the paw print. So this piece actually cuts, just so you can see, it cuts the back and then it cuts this piece, which is a spot on the dog, and then it cuts out the tail. Whoop. So that's what this piece has. It has the 3 pieces. So I'm going to go ahead and we're going to go ahead and put this dog together, and then we'll make a card with it. I just want to show you how to paper piece this. And I'm not going to be coloring up the stamps. Now you could get the stamps and you can do the coloring, but I'm not going to be doing the coloring on the stamps. I just wanted to do paper piecing today. So what I'm going to do is I am going to take a white front, and then I'm going to take a black back. And basically, I am going to snip away the ears as well as some of the places for the spots. So let me move these dies out of the way because I don't need those dies any longer. I just need to work with these pieces here. So basically what I'm going to do on this black dog is I am just going to snip away the black ears, because I know I'm going to be using those. So just use, it's always easiest when you're using small scissors. It just helps. Sometimes the big scissors are hard to get in those spots. So I'm going to be using the ears. Just trim that extra piece off. And then on, let's see, on the front piece, there's a little spot right here on the top of the head. So I'm just going to snip that spot off because I'm going to be using that as well. So I'm going to put that in my pile. And then there's a little spot here on the side of the dog that I'm just going to snip off. And I'm going to set that there. Okay. So I'm going to put these 2 pieces aside, and now I'm going to take my white one and I'm going to do the same thing. So I'm just going to snip off the ears. Okay, so here's the little spot on the side. Snip that off. And then this piece on the top. We'll put that aside. Okay, so there's the front of the white. And then we'll do the same thing here. So basically we're just snipping off all of these pieces and then we're going to put them together. So I'm just going to finish this up. So next, I'm going to take my cloud ink and I'm going to ink up the edges of the white cardstock. So this is just going to add some nice dimension, some nice texture to this doggy. Okay, so we'll do both pieces, the front and the back. Okay, let's go ahead and do the tail. Actually, this is not the tail. This is the spot on the back of it. And then I'll come over with the ears and just while I have this ink out, and I'll go ahead and do the ears, even though they're not going to be used in the white puppy. Okay, and then if you wanted to do the little spots that you cut out, you can put some ink on those as well. The little tiny spots, that's up to you. And then if you wanted to do the tail, you can do that as well. The black one, I'm not going to ink up because it's already black. I'm not going to worry about it. You won't be able to see the ink anyway. So now I'm going to take a shadow layer. I'm going to take my glue, and I am going to go ahead and start adhering this little guy to the shadow. So I'm going to go ahead and put glue on him. Okay, so we're putting the white on the gray, and then I'm going to come in with the ears. These are going to be the black ears, and those are going to go on the side. So we'll go ahead and add some glue. Okay, and then we'll fill these spots in. So I'm going to put some glue on the spot. This is the one that goes on its head. And then this is the one for the side. I'm going to add one of the pink noses. So isn't that cute? Now for his eyes, you can actually paper piece. You can get the black eyes that you die cut out of the black and then put them in there. But those are so small. I think what I'm going to do is instead just do some of the 3D ink on there. So I'm going to wait and do that at the end. Meanwhile, I'm going to go ahead and do the back side of him. So now I'm going to take the white large piece and add that to a shadow. Look how cute that is. So there's the front and the back. Isn't that adorable? So now I'm just going to do the same thing just so that I don't have to worry about putting these die cuts in a baggie and saving them. I'm just gonna go ahead and finish up and make the rest of this dog, or make this other dog, but in the reverse colors. All right, so there are my doggies. So now you can actually just put these together, and it's super cute because you can actually make this if you wanted to, maybe a little tag on a gift. You can do that. You can just stick a hole up here. That way it's completely round. But we're actually going to be making this into a spinner card. So let's go ahead and work on that card, and then we'll come back at the end and add the 3D ink to the eyes. So I have a card base that's A2 in size. It's 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. I have a piece of strawberry cardstock that's cut to 4 1/8 by 5 3/8. And I have a piece of pattern paper that is cut to 4 by 5 1/4, and this paper is from the Believe paper pad. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the strawberry cardstock. I am going to go ahead and adhere that with glue to my card base. So that's going to be adhered flat with glue to the front. You're going to have a little bit of white showing on all 4 sides. Okay. Now this piece, we're not going to adhere fully yet. Instead, I'm just going to take some tape. I'm just going to put a tiny bit of tape just so that this does not move when it goes through the die cut machine. I'm just going to position it where I know that I'm going to end up wanting it on this card front, but I'm not going to adhere it fully yet. I will do that a little bit later, but for right now I'm going to take an oval die. So basically I'm getting a shaped die that's the size that I want my little guy here to be positioned inside of. So I'm using an oval die. I thought that would work best. If you have a rectangle die and you want to use that, you can. A square die won't work just because of the shape that he is. So I would probably stick with an oval or a rectangle. So I am going to remove that, and I'm just going to make sure that this die is centered right on the front of this panel, and just make sure you have equal space above and below and on the left and the right side. And then I'm going to add some washi tape, And I'm going to run this through my die cut machine, and I'm going to make sure that this card is open flat. So don't close it, because if you close it, you're gonna end up with an oval through the back of your card. So run it through flat just like this. All right, so when that comes out of the die cut machine, just remove your die. You might have to run your die through a couple of times because it is going through a few layers here of cardstock. It actually ripped a little bit there, but that's okay because that's just on the back side. All right, so now we have that hole. Now these two pieces we actually don't need. I can get rid of that. But this piece we don't need either, but I'm still gonna remove this from the die. I can always use this for another project. And this is the piece that we want. So I'm gonna just kind of gently remove this. Remember, I just put a little bit of adhesive on there, not too much. So now I'm gonna remove that, because what happens is we're gonna need to put some twine here, and we need to have a piece to cover up, so that's where the twine is gonna go. The twine's actually gonna be positioned between the red cardstock and the pattern paper. So I have cut a piece of twine, and it's about 5 inches. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make sure that it is centered right there in the middle. And I'm just gonna be using a piece of red tape. I'm just gonna use this tape because it's a little bit stronger than the other tapes. And I am just going to I'm gonna place that down, and I think what I'm gonna have to do is just trim this just a little bit because it's a little bit too thick. So I just trimmed that tape just in half, just so that it keeps that down, and so that when I put this cover on, that the tape's not showing through the top. So I'm gonna do the same thing, just pull this down, just make sure that it is straight, and I'm gonna take a piece of my tape. Again, I'm just going to snip it a little bit off just to make sure that it does not show through. And then just hold that down. So I have a piece of tape here, and I have a piece of tape here at the bottom. So let's just make sure that that tape's not going to show through when I put this on, and it seems to look good. I am going to snip off just a tiny bit of the extra twine that is hanging here at the bottom. And then I'm going to go ahead and place my little doggy. I just want to make sure that he is centered. So I'm going to get the white back, and that's going to go on the back side. Just make sure he's centered, enough space. Try to get the same amount of space at the top as you do at the bottom, just like that, because that's how he's going to go. Isn't that adorable? Okay, so now I have the bottom one positioned. I'm making sure also that this twine is positioned between his legs here, because let me just move this up just so you can see a little bit better. I'm going to zoom this in a little bit more so you can see a little bit better. So make sure that twine is positioned there right in the middle of his little leg. So I'm just going to take a piece of tape, and I'm going to add it to the middle right over that twine, and I'm just going to trim off the top because I cut it a little bit too long. So I'm just going to add it here, and then just press this down. And then I'm going to remove this. This is double-sided, so just remove the backing. And then I'm just going to use my glue to finish this up. So I'm just going to add glue to the rest of this. If you wanted to, you can use tape, but just figured I'll just add the glue. And then take your other piece and just lay it right on top. Okay, so there's the back side, and then there is the front side. Okay, so now we can add this piece right over top. Let me go ahead and pull the backing off of this piece of tape. And then I'm just gonna apply glue to this piece. Okay, so just make sure that the ovals are lining up. That's what you're concerned with right now, is that your ovals are lining up and that there's no red peeking through the ovals. Okay, so I'm gonna close that. Isn't that cute? I love that. And then when you open it up, you can actually see the back side of him. So what I'm gonna do right now is I don't want just this white showing on the back. I wanna have a piece of pattern paper back here. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut a piece of pattern paper. So I took a stitched rectangle die and I die cut this yellow pattern paper. It's from the same paper pad. And we'll go ahead and glue this down. So if you don't have a stitched rectangle die, just cut a piece of pattern paper down. You can cut it down to 4 1/8 by 5 3/8, and that will fill a good portion of this back piece. Okay, so let's turn this little guy over. Isn't that adorable? I think that is so cute. So to make this spin, you can actually just twist this around. Twist, twist, twist. Get a good twist on that. And then when the person opens this up, that little doggy just spins around. Isn't that cute? I love that. So if you didn't want to write a message here, you can always write a message on the back, because I know that a lot of it would show up here. Maybe you can also write something along this side. It wouldn't be a very big message. It would have to be pretty small, but that's another way of putting a message on the inside. Maybe if you used a smaller oval or a smaller die, you'd have more space to write the message on this side. But you wouldn't want to have a message showing through the back here. That would just look a little funny. So those are some options there. So I want to add a sentiment real quick. We're going to go ahead and go to the stamp set. And I'm thinking, I don't know, we can say hello friend and put a little stamp here at the very bottom. That would be cute. So I went ahead and stamped it out, and I just trimmed it down with my paper trimmer. So it's a pretty small sentiment, and that will fit right down here. So I'm just gonna make sure that that is even with that pattern paper, and then the only thing you can see below it is the red. That way you don't have the pattern paper showing below it as well. And that's super cute. So there's my card. Again, to make it spin, just keep twisting this until, you don't want to twist it till you can't twist it any longer, but twist it up. You can see that the twine is twisted. And then when you take an envelope and you're ready to send this off, keep it twisted. So when you put this in the envelope, and then the recipient gets this and they take it out, open it up, and when they see the cute little dog on there, they open it up and it spins. Isn't that cute? So now real quick, I showed you how to make that, but I want to go ahead and fill in his eyes. So I have my Stamps of Life 3D ink, and I just want to test this real quick before I just put it on my card. And it seems like it's fine. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to add a little bit of ink here to his eyes. So there's one, and so for me, that is the easiest thing to do when you're doing eyes on these little guys. So that's a 3D ink pen from the Stamps of Life. So I'm gonna just let this lay flat now while that dries. But that is so cute. I love it. So that is how you make a spinner card using your Hanging Out Dog to Stamp. So leave me a comment and let me know what you thought of this. And if you like this video, go ahead and click that like button and be sure to subscribe for more card making inspiration. Have a great day. Bye-bye.